Okay, so till now we have read about row space, we have read about column space, we have read about null space, and today we will read about left null space. Okay, we will read about left null space. So row space, column space, and null space. You guys are clear? Any doubts you have? You want to ask? Okay. Okay. So left null space is comparatively little simple. The left null space of A is actually the null space of A transpose. Okay. So we read about the null space of A, right? So the left null space of A is the null space of A transpose. So according to this, the dimension of row space of A plus the dimension of null space of A will be equal to the number of columns of the matrix A, right? So the matrix A is m cross n. The dimension of the row space of A plus the dimension of the null space of A will be equal to the number of columns. Okay, you can proof is simple, but you can just if you want to try this, you can try later, or just you can remember this. Similarly, dimension of the row space of A transpose plus the dimension of the null space of A transpose is equal to the number of rows. It's just same thing. Instead of A, we are taking A transpose, A transpose. So columns becomes rows. So, or we can tell the dimension of the column space of A plus the dimension of the null space of A transpose is equal to number of rows. Okay. So these two are the important relationships. This is not required. These two are the important relationships you have to remember. Okay. So the dimension of row space plus dimension of null space is equal to number of columns of the matrix. Dimension of column space plus dimension of left null space. This is the left null space, right? Dimension of column space plus the dimension of left null space is equal to the number of rows of the matrix. Okay. Okay. Now, uh, hmm, just a minute. Okay. So you remember, right? C1, C2, C3 into x1, x2, x3 is equal to 0, 0, 0. So that means what? X1 into C1 plus X2 into C2 plus X3 into C3. These are vectors is equal to 0. Okay, 0 vector. So the question of producing the null space is what weights of the columns C1, C2 and C3 together with x1, x2 and x3 will produce the 0 column vector, right? So this was what we understood when we are doing the null space of A, right? This is A. This is A. So A has 3 columns and 3. Uh, so these are the linear combinations. So we find out that what will be those linear combinations which will mixed with the columns of A gives us the zero vector. So that was the null space. Similarly, so this can also be thought like y1, y2, y3 into r1, r2, r3 is equal to 0, 0, 0. Okay. So this also can be A, right? So this is looking at A in a point of view of column wise. It's getting blurred, right? Okay, so this is looking at A in the point of view of columns, the columns. This is looking at A from the point of view of rows, right? So, but both are A, right? So now we want to know what combination of R1, R2, R3 will give us the zero row. Okay, so this is for our left null space. This is for our left null space. So y1 into r1 plus y2 into r2 plus y3 into r3 is equal to the zero vector, right? So what are the values of y1, y2, y3 which when linearly combined with the rows of A gives us the zero vector. So this is the left null space because this is for the transpose of A. Okay, so these columns will become in transpose when you make these rows will become the columns, right? So that is the same thing. That's why we have to find this y1, y2, y3. Once we find the y1, y2, y3, we have the left null space of A. Okay, so how to find the left null space of A? Let us take an example. So A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 8, 3, 6, 9. This is A. We'll do the what? We'll do the RRF of A, the RRF of A. So let's do one thing. Quickly do the RRF of this one and tell me. Okay. Or there is a shortcut way actually. Let's not do it. There's a shortcut way. The shortcut way is we'll do one thing. We will apply here elimination matrices. Okay. We will apply here elimination matrices and try to make this one the zero matrix. Okay. So we'll apply elimination matrices and try to make this a zero matrix. Okay, like in case of upper triangular matrix we are making, we are converting that into identity matrix. Similarly, here we will try to make it a zero matrix. So R2 dash is equal to R2 minus 2R1. Okay, R3 dash is equal to.
So RRF you want, right?
No, RRF we don't want. You can stop that one. Okay, so I'm telling you another different way. So what I'm telling is the way is try to find the elimination matrix which when multiplied with this one will give you the zero matrix. Okay, so we get R2 R3 dash like this. So now our A becomes, if I do this, what becomes our A? It becomes 1 2 3 0 0 0 and 0 0 0, right? So we couldn't make A completely zero, but we made A uh, as close to 0 as possible. We made all the rows 0.
Last row will be 0, 2, 0, I guess. Yeah.
0, 2, 0.
Yeah, yeah. 8 is there, right?
Then I go to some wrong. So 3 minus 3.
Will be 2.
Yes, yes. So this is 6. Okay. And 3 9. Now it is correct, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So purpose is not to solve this one. Purpose is to make this one as close to 0 as possible. Okay. So this is the target, to make it as close to 0. Now I chose a matrix which will immediately become 0. But you can choose a matrix and you can apply your eliminations, then rule as per the Gaussian eliminations, and make it 0. So that is up to you. So, but the choice is that we will make as close to 0, right? So when if you use have Gaussian elimination by like taking the pivot and everything, then what will happen ultimately? If there is a dependency, then one of the rows will become 0, right? If there is no dependency, then we can never reach to this situation, right? We reach to this situation because R1, R2, and R3 were dependent on R1. Okay, so I chose the matrix in such a way that R2 and R3 are dependent on R1. So that's why I got a matrix with 2 rows as 0, right? But if this was a full rank matrix, then I would have never got it, right? So imagine this is a very big matrix, okay, and we will never able to know that which row is dependent on which row. So what we will do, we will go as per the algorithm of our Gaussian eliminations, and if we go properly, then what will happen? We will reach to a point where if there is a dependency, then we will get some rows as 0. If there is a dependency, then we will get some rows as 0. That is for sure. Okay. So if we don't get any rows as 0, then there is no left null space. Okay. If we don't get any row as 0, then there is no left null space. Right. So this will only happen. Obviously, this will happen only for dependent matrices. Like null space also is for only dependent matrices. Right. So this is also for dependent matrices. So you will most probably get a row which is 0. 1 or 2 rows. Okay, so our target is to make as many rows 0 as possible. It does not mean that we will forcefully make them 0. We will only make them 0 if they are possible to make 0. Okay? So after making this 0, so it is also kind of your RRF also will do the same thing. If you had applied RRF, you also would have got something similar to this. Okay. So what will happen now? So you see that this is E1, right? So E1 is equal to 1 0 0 minus 2 1 0 0 0 1. So this one you know, right? You guys know how to calculate this. E2 is equal to 1 0 0 and 0 1 0 and minus 3 0 1. Okay. Now we multiply E is equal to multiplication of E2 into E1, right? So we get what we get E. That means we get it finally. Finally, we get this. E is 1 minus 2 minus 3 0 1 0 0 0 1. This is E multiplied by A 1 2 3 2 4 6 3 6 9 is equal to 1 2 3 0 0 0 0 0. So this is my final thing, right? So this matrix, if multiplied with this, we get 2 rows as 0. Okay. Now it is important to consider which rows are 0. So row 2 and row 3 are 0. Okay. So you see in the elimination matrix which row. So this row and this row is responsible to make that 0. Okay. So our nulls, the left null space, that is null space of A transpose, is equal to alpha into minus 2 1 0 plus beta into minus 3 0 1. Okay, so this is my left null space. I can write it in the vertical form also, minus 2 1 0 as beta into minus 3, 0. Okay. So this is my left null space. Now this is one more way. Don't get confused. This is just one more way to do the same thing. Okay. What you could have done is, another way of doing it is, take the A transpose. Okay. Take the A transpose, which will be equal to 1, 2, 3, or 2, 4, 6, 3, 6, 9, which is actually the same thing. A transpose is equal to A. So you take A transpose and then you solve this one, A in x is equal to 0, like we did in case of null space, right? And then find the null space like we did. So that null space will be actually the null space of A transpose. So you get the solution. So that is also okay. This is also okay. This is just one more way to do it. Okay. You're taking the advantage of row multiplications. Okay. So ultimately you get the null space. Now there is an important thing we are. So apart from those two equations that I wrote, that the column space plus left null space is equal to number of columns, and row space plus null space is equal to, sorry, row space plus null space is equal to number of columns, and column space plus left null space is equal to number of rows. This is one important equation. Another is that the null space of A is always perpendicular to the row space of A. Okay. The null space of A transpose means the left null space is always perpendicular to the row space of A transpose. Okay. The null space of A transpose is always perpendicular to the column space of A. Okay. So this one you can forget. This is just the intermediate step, right? So the null space is perpendicular to the row space, and the left null space is perpendicular to the column space. What do I mean by perpendicular? Okay. What do I mean by perpendicular? Okay. There is a way to write this one. Okay. There is a way to write this one. We will write this one many times now. Okay. So just be very careful on how we write it. Okay. Row space, null space, left null space, column space. So this is A, right? So A is row space and null space. So both are perpendicular to each other. Then column space and left null space. Null space of A transpose. Null space of A and column space of A. This one you have to remember this diagram. Okay. So for a matrix A, the row space is always perpendicular to the null space. The column space is always perpendicular to the left null space, and one more is that the dimension of the column space plus the dimension of the left null space. If I do a plus here, this both will give me the number of rows, and similarly the dimension of the row space plus the dimension of the null space will give me the number of the columns. Okay. So this diagram you keep in mind. So one diagram, this will make the entire thing that we read will be in our mind. So this one has to be in the mind always. Okay, this is very important. So the row space of A is perpendicular to the null space of A. The column space of A is perpendicular to the left null space of A. The dimension of row space of A plus the dimension of null space of A is equal to the number of columns of A. The dimension of column space of A plus the dimension of the left null space of A is equal to the number of rows of A. Now we will be little confused. Now what did it happen? Okay, because until Ax equal to B, you were able to imagine things properly, right? until Ax equal to B, you were able to imagine things properly. So if it was a C1, C2, C3 matrix, and this was X1, X2, X3, and this one was B1, B2, B3, then you could understand that okay, I have three vectors. Okay, I have in a three-dimensional matrix. I have three vectors, C1, C2, C3, and the linear combination of these three vectors with X1, X2, X3 is giving me some I don't know, new vectors. This one you could understand. Okay, this is just vector addition kind of thing. But now coming the space thing makes a little bit of confusion. Okay, so imagine this A is column deficient. So this is has rank deficient. So this has the number of columns is 3, but rank of A is say is equal to 2. Okay. So in a three-dimensional space, X, Y, Z, in a three-dimensional space, okay. In a three-dimensional space, I have A. So why I took A as why I took three dimension? Because since A has three columns, so I will have x1, x2, x3 values. Right? I can write here x1, x2, and x3. Okay. So different values of x1, x2, and x3, when combined by the column C1, C2, C3, gives me B1, B2, B3. Right? So what is B1, B2, B3 then? This is the column space of A. Right? All the linear combination of the columns of A is the column space of A. Now since A is rank deficient and the rank of A is 2, so I can have maximum 2 independent columns. Right? And that is true. Rank is true. 2. So my column space will be a two-dimensional plane. Let's say this is my column space. This one is my column space of A. Okay. Similarly, I will have a row space of A. Row space of A, what it will be? It will be the linear combination of the rows, which gives me B. Okay. Just think like that. That column space and row space are not the same thing, right? I said you before also. Let me see that one. This is very important. Column space and row space, though the definition looks very similar, but they are not the same thing. Okay. Okay. So what do we know? So if you have two independent vectors in a 6 dimension. So example is, suppose you have a 6 by 6 matrix. Okay. So how many dimensions? 6 dimensions. So, and you have two independent vectors in that 6 dimension, then you will have a 2D plane in 6D as your column space. 2D plane in 6D as your column space, right? Now, why is the problem I'm telling you here? Right. Yeah, it is about the dimension of the matrix, right? So here is the example to make it clear a little bit. Suppose A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay. Now this is a 4 cross 3 matrix. Okay, this is a 4 cross 3 matrix. Now these two are dependent. These two are dependent. Okay. So I can select any one. I selected this one. I didn't select this one. So this one is my the independent vectors of a column space. Independent vectors of a column space. Now what is the dimension of this vector? 4. What is the dimension of this vector? 4. So what will be the space? How will be the space? The space will be a 4-dimensional space. In that 4-dimensional space, how many vectors I have? 2. How many independent vectors I have? 2. So in a 4D, a 2D. So the column space is in a 4D, a 2D. And same way, if you see which two columns, rows are independent, which two rows are, the number of independent rows is equal to the number of independent. So suppose, let's not beat our head. Suppose these two are the independent rows. Okay, and these two are the independent columns, these are the independent rows. So now it changes because now the rows dimension is 3. So this is in 3D, a 2D. Because two independent vectors, so it will always be a plane, but where? In a 3D space. So this is your column space and this is your row space. So a column space is never equal to the row space. Although it may sound similar, but they are not same. This is a very important thing. I always confuse between this one. So this is a right example for you to understand. So this is inside a 4D, I have a 2D. This is inside a 3D, I have a 2D. Okay, and therefore we cannot compare these two. This is like mango and this is like apple. So you cannot compare these two because the space itself is completely different, right? So, but one thing is important here, you understand that my column space is a 2D in a 4D. My null space also will be a 2D in a 4D. So this one will, this two, not null space, left null space. Okay, my left null space will also be a, because my left null space will be how? It will be transposed, right? After transpose, which particular columns will be there? So this will be the left null space will be also similar. Here the null space. Okay, so that's why these two can be perpendicular to each other and these two can be perpendicular to each other. Okay, so that's why a column space can be perpendicular to a left null space and a row space can be perpendicular to a null space. But there is no relationship between a column space and a row space, and there is no relationship between a left null space and a null space. So this one and this one are independent, but inside these two are related. Okay.
Actually, in the matrix we have 3 columns, right? So
no, independent column is only 2.
Yeah, independent column is 2. So it should be the first one which you have written. It should be in 3D.
No,
2D. No.
That is the dimension of the vector. Each vector, how will you represent 1, 2, 3, 4 in a 3D? Can you represent 1, 2, 3 and 4 in? So you say, okay, this is 1, this is 2 and this is 3. Where will I take 4? This 4 where I will take? I have to have an axis, right? You understand or not? So
no.
This is the vector. The vector is what? 1, 2, 3 and 4. Where can you show this vector? Where can you draw this vector? In a 4D or a 3D?
4D.
Right. So that's why I need a 4D. I need a 4D to express this vector. But how many such vectors I have? 2.
Right.
So I need a 4-dimensional space to show my vectors. True. But in that 4-dimensional space, I have only 2 independent vectors. So combination of them, they will give me what? A plane.
Yeah, I get your point. What I'm saying is in a 4D, a 2D, I get that. In a 3D, a 2D. But in a 4D, a 2D, that is row space, right?
Column space.
Column space. No, what I am thinking is there are 4 rows and there are 3 columns. So in that way, I was just Thank you.
4 rows and 3 columns.
The matrix.
That is why when there are 4 rows, the column vector is a 4-dimensional vector. Since
Oh.
there are 4 rows,
Oh, okay. Okay.
right? To represent a row vector, I have to only write 1, 4, 2 because the number of columns is 3,
Okay.
right? And to write a column vector, but I have to write 1, 2, 3, 4 because the number of rows is 4. See, the column vector gets its dimension from the number of rows, and the row vector gets its dimension from the number of columns.
Okay. 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 Clear.
Okay. Okay. So that means these spaces has actually nothing to do with the matrix A or the vector X or the solution B or whatever. These spaces has nothing to do with them. Okay, these spaces are independent spaces inside a 6D or a 4D or 3D, whatever. Okay, these are independent spaces, and the row space and null space share the common space, and hence we can tell that they. So in row space, we found the equation of the row space, right? The generic equation in alpha, beta, gamma terms, right? So whatever vector it will generate using that formula, and whatever vector will be generated in the null space, you also calculated the null space, right, using RRF formula. So whatever vector will be generated in the null space by the alpha, beta, gamma formula, and whatever vectors will be calculated in the row space by the alpha, beta, gamma formula, both any vector in the row space and any vector in the null space will always be perpendicular to each other. Okay, this is a beautiful property. Using this property, you can solve a lot of things in the future. We'll see that. Okay, and similarly, the column space and the left null space also share the same dimensions, but whatever vectors lie on the column space will always be perpendicular to whatever vector lies on the left null space. Okay, so if I have to select 2 independent vectors, I can select one vector from the row space and one vector from the null space, and I can be always 100% sure that they are independent of each other because they are perpendicular to each other. Is it not? So these type of properties will help us a lot. So row space, null space, column space, left null space. Row space dimension plus null space dimension is equal to number of columns. Column space dimension plus left null space dimension is equal to number of rows. Okay. So that picture that I drew, that is the only one picture you have to carefully keep in your mind. Okay. So with this we conclude the 4 subspaces of a matrix. Okay. And this one you have to understand very, very nicely. If you have any confusion, doubts, think about it, ask me, get it clarified before we move into the uses of this tool. Okay, where will these spaces be used? You know, okay, I'll tell you. These 4 subspaces are very useful in performing SVD, singular value decomposition, and pseudo inverse. There is a topic called pseudo inverse. When there cannot be a real inverse, we call it a pseudo inverse. Okay, so these 2 calculations are highly dependent on the 4 subspaces. Okay, so we have to be very, very clear on this. Okay, any questions, guys?
No, Visva.
No question. No question.
Anmay?
No, it's clear.
Okay. Okay, then I'll not teach more. So we'll go little less speed. Okay. Although there is time, but we'll go less speed so that Abhishek has a fair chance to catch up. Okay, whenever he gets time.
Okay.
You, Tanmay and Rizwan, you okay with that?
Yeah, Visva.
Yeah,
Just send
yeah.
this video today itself. Sir. I will go.
Yeah, I will send it now itself. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Enjoy. Let's meet tomorrow again.
Okay, so last class means last class not yesterday. I was not on Tuesday. Class was there.
You are not there.
Okay, okay,
I shared it in the group, na.
okay.
That nowadays I am sharing no mails. I am now sharing only in the Telegram. I am directly giving the YouTube link.
No, Tuesday I had some calls, so I did not join. So for that only I'm asking.
If you go scroll back in the Telegram, you will get the class.
Okay.
Or Rizwan or anybody, if you have that, you can just share it.
No, Tuesday we did not have a class, but we had a very good.
We
We had a very good
Yeah.
speak.
Okay. So then you did not miss anything, Karima. You did not miss anything.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Okay, then.
Could have been recorded. Tuesday's one, like Rizwan said. It was a very.
Yeah. So okay, no problem. So I will again give bhashans anytime you require.
No, it's not Bhashan. It was really great.
Yeah. So okay. So let's meet tomorrow. I'll give you the class immediately in the link in the Telegram. Okay.
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 Okay, guys. Bye.
Bye. Good night.
Bye. Thank you. Good night.